And we're back on Perks Recap Podcast. Al joins me as always. And wow, what a divisional round we had this past week, Al. Let's talk about it.
It was awesome. Let's just dive right in, man. It was so good. Let's hit it. And let's just dive into this awesome football stuff, man.
All right. Okay. Well, Kansas City took out Houston 23-14. Um, we both got that one right. We both picked Kansas City. No surprise there, although in many ways, watching the game, Houston kind of outplayed them in my eyes.
Their defense looked really good.
Their defense looked fantastic. The Chiefs had 212 yards of total offense.
Yeah, no, it was. It's so funny because even though the Chiefs ended up covering like they have for the last month or so, going back into the regular season, it looked more like 2-3 months ago Chiefs, where they
Yeah,
were
their
just
their
muddling
offense
through.
looked pathetic.
Yeah, right. And they were just going to muddle through, and their defense played awesome, but then
Hu-
somehow they ended up winning by whatever it was, 9. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. They are a mystifying team. They really are.
212 yards total. I mean, Houston just blew the game with the fact that they had two missed field goals
Yeah.
and a like two fourth down conversions they went for that they didn't get.
Yep.
Something like that. Um, They they had 336 yards. They out had more yardage than the Chiefs by over 120 yards more than
Yeah,
the Chiefs did.
absolutely. And it's not like the Chiefs were sitting on a lead. It was 13-12 heading into the fourth quarter. So
I mean, and then we can't. I know we don't get into it all that much, but the penalties.
yes, I love it. Hit me.
I mean, the thing is, I don't haven't been really buying into it that much about the Chiefs get all the calls, but then you see a game like that, and it just adds more fuel to the fire because that was ridiculous.
You talking about the one where the defenders' heads hit and they called it on like they called a penalty on them for hitting
Y-
Mahomes?
And he slid late to begin with. Yes, all that.
Yeah, yeah. Now the thing is, I don't know, man, because I don't understand this conspiracy theory really because I don't understand why anybody thinks the NFL would want the Chiefs to win. It's not like they're clamoring for that Kansas City television market to be in the Super Bowl every year. So I don't understand the basic premise of the
I
whole.
no, I disagree. I think they absolutely want them in because of Patrick Mahomes.
No, no, they want big television markets. If they are going to do a conspiracy, which I don't believe anyway, but if they are, they want the biggest numbers they can possibly get, and that's not coming from Kansas City.
Yeah, but it is now. Kansas City games get the highest ratings of any games of the now. They get higher ratings than any team.
You think
Name a
they get
team
a
that gets
bigger
higher
rating in the
rating than
Super
Kansas
Bowl than
City.
if the Giants were in it?
Yeah,
No way.
I think they would.
Yeah, I don't.
They're the gold. They're the golden gooses. They want them in there. They want Taylor Swift in the box. They want all that.
Yeah, I just don't buy that.
Yeah, and I completely buy into that they want it, and I do think there might be something to this now. And I didn't up until I didn't think that, but now it's getting ridiculous. That's all I'm saying. Is it's the conspiracy theorists, which I'm normally not. They they have legitimate claims now. Like he's now trying to flop going out of bounds too. Do you see that ridiculousness?
Yes, yes, he's apparently been watching soccer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They get every single call. It seems like every time it's something that could go either way, and even the Texans were saying it after the game. See what D'Amico Ryan said after the game? He's like, "Well, we all know what the scenario is when you play Kansas City. You're not just playing Kansas City."
Right, right, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, but
I
I've
don't
heard a
know.
lot of sour grapes from a lot of teams. I've seen a lot of bad calls that didn't involve Kansas City. So, yeah, I just don't. I personally don't buy it, but I see where people are coming from because once you start looking for it, it's easy to find. It's like that text you sent me earlier this year when Kansas City with that video of Kansas City's right tackle starting like half a second early, and they
Yep.
didn't call it. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens 45 times a game on every team in the NFL. But people are looking for it for Kansas City right now, so they're finding it.
I don't know. I don't think any quarterback gets as many calls as he does.
Yeah, I mean, listen, at least 3 or 4 times a game, there's somebody bitching about a very low contact, not quarterback call. So I just don't buy it personally. I get it. I get it. I respect anybody's opinion that wants to have it,
I'm
but
starting to think there might be something to it,
yeah, and
and
that's fair.
I
I do understand
definitely,
it, but
yeah, and I definitely disagree that they don't want them in there. I think they are the number one team in the league, in the league's eyes as well. They want them in there,
yeah, I disagree with that.
and that's okay.
Yeah, totally, man, totally. Yeah, I just think in the league's mind, I just don't think that there's any way they would prefer Kansas City over a New York Giants, LA, whoever Super Bowl.
Yeah, I disagree with that,
Right on.
and that's okay.
Yeah, totally, man.
Let's see here. I did not get my stats up yet, so if you have them,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
really,
Which? Oh, the Texans Chiefs.
yeah, there
Yes. Here we
really
go.
is. There isn't a whole lot.
There isn't, man. Like, it's funny because the better stats came from the Texans. Like you said earlier, team stats and individual. You had Stroud, 19 for 28, 245 yards. He didn't throw a touchdown. He also ran 6 times for 42 yards, which is a lot for him. Mixon ran 18 times for 88 yards and a touch. Nico had 5 catches for 81 yards. Nobody else really of note. The big stat on the Chiefs side was Kelsey, which is so funny because we said last week the over under for Kelsey catches 7.5, and you said definitely 100 yards. And boom, 7 catches for 117 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep.
The big thing was, and this is even though they gave up some yards, their defense had 8 sacks, and this just summed up the Texans' problems all season in a nutshell, right there.
Yep. That was a problem.
Yeah,
Definitely.
George Karlaftis had 3, by the way, who was a promising rookie last year and has settled into being a darn good football player now. Or maybe 2 years ago. I'm getting old. So yeah, that's pretty much it for stats on that one, man.
Wow. All right. I'm trying to see if I can get okay. There was 12 penalties, 8 of them on Houston, and what else did I have? Anything else on this game? Oh well, this is for all 4 games that we're going to go over here. This is the first time in history that all 4 losing teams on the divisional round playoff outgained the winning team.
Oh, that's wild. I didn't catch that. That's an awesome stat.
Not one of the winning teams outgained the losing team this weekend.
That's a good one, man. I hadn't heard that. That's great.
All the losers had more yards than the winners.
That's so funny.
All right.
That's awesome. Good
Um,
stat.
no surprise there. I mean, however they got it done, they did get it done. They find a way, that's for sure. And let's move on to. I guess it's time to move on to the shocker.
Yeah.
45-31. Washington beats Detroit. Can you believe it? I am still in shock over this one. I can't believe it. I hate the friggin' Redskins as it is.
No doubt. Right
So,
there with you.
you know, but yeah, just I'm I can't believe this is where we're at.
This is astonishing. I mean, I picked it and I'm still stunned. Like
No, you got this.
I
That's right. You got this right, and I got it wrong.
yeah, well, no disgrace to you. I mean, I think everybody in the world thought the Lions were going to win this game. But I just kind of the Commanders have had this. They just have this feeling coming on those they didn't need a last second win to win this game. They destroyed them. But it was they had the 5 last second wins in a row leading up to this game, and then they beat arguably the best team in football. So there's something special about this team right now, and it just rolled right over the Lions. This was a good game for a long time, but it wasn't close in the end. And it's last thing, real quick, Craig, is I'm just a little bummed that the original podcast didn't come out, because on that, not only did I pick the Commanders, but I told you that Goff would be the reason they lost, and I got that right too.
Yeah, Goff had three interceptions
And
and
the
a
lost
fumble
fumble.
loss. Yeah, four turnovers. That's what killed them because they everywhere else they dominated.
And that's why I was nervous about him.
I mean, Goff had more yards, 313 yards. Gibbs had 106. Amon-Ra St. Brown had 137. Nobody on Washington rushed for as much as Gibbs. Nobody caught for as much as St. Brown. And Daniels didn't throw as much as Goff. I mean,
Yeah, man. It was all turnovers.
yep. And here's another stat. Detroit is the first team ever, playoffs or not, ever, just in general, to pass for 300 yards, run for 200 yards, and lose.
Oh, that's crazy. That's another great stat. Wow.
They
Wow.
had 521 yards of offense and lost.
That's incredible. Yeah. They scored 31 points and lost by 14. How often do you get to say that?
Yeah, and scored 31 points after turning the ball over four times, too.
Right, right. Yeah. Yeah. And Goff was bad, and he, almost single-handedly cost him the game. But another issue was they got back into it at one point, and then the weirdest time for a trick play I've ever seen in my life, they do a
What the heck was that?
triple
Jamison
end
Williams.
around.
Jamison Williams. What that was a dumb play.
It was. It was not a smart call. It was not. It was poor. It was. Listen, and nobody. I don't think like Jamison Williams is not the guy that's going to make the smart decision in the moment and not throw that ball. He's a talented dude, but I don't think anybody's talking about him. As the greatest decision maker on the field. So, after getting suspended for gambling and all that. So I don't know, man. It was a awesome game to watch, but it was also really odd. It was a fascinatingly weird game.
It was. It was. It was fun for sure.
It was.
But
It
I
was back
knew,
and
like,
forth.
but in
Yeah.
the second quarter, I can tell that. I talk about this a little bit that you kind of just get a feeling on who's going to win a game just by the way it's going and the flow of it and as you're watching it.
Yes.
In the second quarter, I'm like, Washington's going to win this game
Yeah. I'm
because you
with
could
you.
just tell they were marching up and down the field. Detroit had no answers for them. Now, even though Detroit outgained them, it's not like Washington didn't do anything. They had 182 yards rushing themselves.
Right.
Detroit had 201, but they had uh, Brown, Diami, what's his name? Diami,
Diami.
Diami Brown. Again, this is not the first time we mentioned his name. 98 yards. McLaurin 87. They just were solid across the board. Not spectacular really anywhere. Daniels had his 299 and two touchdowns, but the key was no picks and no sacks.
Yeah. Absolutely. I wrote that same stat down. You're exactly right. 5 turnovers for Washington, none for Detroit. Or five forced turnovers for,
Right, right,
you
right.
know what, I'm sorry, I said that awkwardly, but you know what I mean. Yeah, man, just an incredible performance by Washington. I was blown away. They were just super incredible. I mean, I can't say enough. And you know, it's funny because it wasn't so much the injuries in the end. This game was right there for them. It wasn't that they were depleted. It wasn't the 17 guys on the IR. Credit to them, to Detroit, for having such an incredible season with all those injuries. But I don't think it was that in the end that cost them this game. It was just a tough day for golf.
Yeah, yep. So Washington, the surprise team of the season, really moves on, and they are in the NFC Conference Championship game
What? Ooh.
against your Eagles.
Woo!
I got this one wrong too.
Well, thank goodness, and I don't blame you for picking it, honestly.
And yeah, once again, the the losing team had more yards.
Yeah, totally, man, totally.
Um, it's weird. So we had Stafford, 324 yards, two touchdowns, no picks.
Yeah, yeah. And by the way, did you see it came out yesterday that he broke a rib, or maybe more than one rib, like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and then it got aggravated on that play where Quinion Mitchell cracked the crap out of him when he ran early in the game. Mitchell got knocked out of the game because of it, hurt his shoulder, and he aggravated his broken rib and/or ribs. So he's been playing for like the better part of a month with broken ribs.
Well, he's a tough dude.
He's a tough son of a gun, man. He really is. All respect in the world to that guy.
Yep. Kyron Williams, 106. Puka, 97.
Kyron did have a
Um,
big fumble though, and but
he
other than
did
that,
it.
he had a heck of a game.
Yep, he definitely had a big fumble. And Stafford had one as well. The two turnovers. Once again, there we go with the turnovers.
Yep.
Um, all the losing teams combined for like 8 turnovers, and the winning teams, all four winning teams,
Mm-hmm.
did not turn the ball over once. None of them did.
Oh, you are dialing up the stats today, my man. I love it. These are great. That's great stuff. I didn't catch it. That's
Turnovers
so awesome.
determined this entire weekend.
That's awesome.
Um, yeah. All right, I got to ask. Now, obviously, there's a scenario where you guys can just ride Saquon all the way to the championship, and
Sure, sure.
it's definitely a possibility. But Jalen Hurts has got to get going in some form.
Well, here's the thing. This is he did what was asked of him this day, and if you look at his stats, he was pretty efficient. And here's the big thing: if you add back the drop that AJ Brown had for a touchdown or right on the goal line, do you remember that play?
Yep.
Then he's 16 for 20 for 160, 70 yards and a touchdown.
Right. That's another guy. That's my next thing was AJ Brown's another one that's got to get going. He had 2 catches for 14 yards. This is the
Yeah,
second week in a row where he's been invisible.
yeah. That doesn't matter. It doesn't affect it at all. This is what. Remember when the media tried to get on him earlier this year? Not the book thing, but when he went a couple games without a catch, and they tried to make it sound like he was complaining, even though he wasn't.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this
That
happens.
was
This is
bogus.
it's garbage because not one. Let me be very clear about that. Not one negative word or action has ever come out of AJ Brown. Not once. And you can't find it unless you don't like the book reading, which I have no issue with, and nobody else on his team does, including his bosses. And But they keep trying to make an issue out of this, and they keep
Right.
trying and trying and trying, and every time him, or whether it's Devontae Smith goes 3 weeks without more than 2 catches, or the tight end, or whoever it is, everyone to a man every time says, we did what had to do today to win. My time will come.
Yeah, it's just magnified because it's the playoffs. That's all.
100%. And listen, here's what's going to happen too is usually after AJ has a couple games like that, he has a monster. So watch out this weekend.
Yeah, and Washington could be the team to do it against.
Absolutely, because their
I just want
secondary
to
has
see
been
more
awesome.
from Jalen. I want to see more than 128 yards. That's
Oh, I
all.
totally understand. I do too. And to win
And he
the
got
Super
sacked
Bowl,
7 times as well.
say it again.
He got sacked 7 times as well.
Oh, no doubt. And listen, part of that is when he's not at his best, it's because he's holding the ball too long. He made a lot of quick and good decisions that day. He only threw 5 incompletions, but when he was off, it's because he holds the ball too long, and you can't do that on a snow day when your guys are on the offensive line are at a massive disadvantage.
Right. And here you go now, though, to the good. I mean, Saquon, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, 26 carries. Like I said before about Jalen, you want to see him get going, but it's conceivable that you don't even need to see him get going and they could still win the whole thing
Well, and
because
keep in mind,
Saquon
as we're
is
saying,
that
Jalen
dominant.
didn't get going. He also ran 7 times for 70 yards and a touchdown.
Yes, he did. And that run was impressive. But I mean, and Saquon could have had more because he dropped down in the last one.
Oh, I forgot. I forgot about the drop down. Okay,
Yeah,
I
remember
thought that
he
was the week
was
before.
Was that? I thought it was this week. I could be wrong.
I think it was the week
I
before.
thought he busted it again and then
Oh, maybe you're
fell
right.
down on
Maybe you're right.
purpose.
Yeah, you might be right, man. I apologize. I apologize if I'm blanking.
Yeah, he fell down on purpose to keep the ball and not let because the Rams end up getting a shot in that last play. I mean, they end up getting close and making it very interesting. You had to be sweating that towards the end
Oh, no doubt, no
when
doubt,
they were driving
absolutely,
down there and they got what to like the inside the 20-yard line, right?
totally. Yeah, they had a 2nd and 2 at like maybe like the somewhere between the 15 and the 20. I want to say, and then Jalen Carter sacked Stafford, made it
Yep.
fourth and, or no, I'm sorry, it was 3rd and 2, I think, because it then became 4th and 11 or something like that. And Stafford, they held him to an incompletion. But yeah, no, that was absolutely, because they were up. Barkley scored that 78, I think it was 72 or 78-yard touchdown to put them up by 2 scores. And then they went into like that prevents you from winning thing, and
Yep.
the Rams got the ball with like 4.5 minutes left, and they scored with like 3.5 minutes left.
Yep.
It was like they just walked down the field, and all of a sudden that's when I got nervous, because man, up. And by the way, I mentioned that the Eagles have a field goal kicker problem coming into the
Yeah.
playoffs. Now, this was the weirdest mixed bag of field goal kicker stuff in one game I think I remember seeing for quite a while. Comes out, they score a touchdown on that Jalen Hurts opening drive, misses the extra point.
Yeah.
Then, as the snow, by the way, the real snow game was in Philly this week. It was way better than the snow in Buffalo, that we'll get to in a second. But
Agreed.
then he makes 3 difficult field goals in the snow, where guys are clearing snow out and blah blah blah. He makes 3 really tough field goals, one medium 40-yard length. They weren't all gimmies, and
Yep. And then he misses another extra point.
and then he misses the extra point, and now they're only up 13 instead of 14. So if the Rams go down and do that, they kick the extra point to win the game. It's such a strange situation with Jake Elliott right now. That is another issue for the Eagles.
Yeah, but you got to be pretty confident. I mean, I mean, you play who's in front of you. You play who earned it. Washington has earned it. But I mean, you feel a lot better them coming to your place than you guys going to Detroit if Detroit had won.
Yeah. I listen. I'll take the home game any day. But I'll tell you what, Washington is every bit as scary as Detroit right now. So I'm 100% with you because it's at home. But this Washington team just walloped a really good team, and it beat another good team the week before that. So they are scary.
Yep. All right. Well,
Oh, real quick before we move on, I just wanted to say a cool stat for you here. Barkley now, after this game, and Eric Dickerson are the only 2 players in the history of the NFL to have 200-yard games in the regular and postseason.
200-yard. Oh, in the same season. Oh, wow.
Pretty cool.
Wow. That
Pretty
is
cool.
good. That's really cool.
Isn't that something? Dickerson, man. And he was one of my favorite running backs when I was growing up. So that's pretty cool.
He's underrated, man. People don't talk about him enough.
I agree, and it's because he never played on a great team, but he deserves it. He was incredible. That's actually more to his credit that he was able to do it playing with guys like Dieter Brock as his quarterback.
Talk about a blast from the past, a name from the past. Wow.
I can't believe that one just came out of the dark recesses of my brain. That's awesome. Dieter Brock. Okay, and then one last stat for Barkley. He had 460 yards in rushing yards. That doesn't count. He had over 500 total yards, but 460 yards rushing in 2 games versus the Rams this year.
Wow.
If he played the Rams all 17 games, he'd rush for 4,000 yards.
Yeah, it's kind of surprising. They knew what happened to him the first time, and they didn't do anything about it.
You saw that during the game where was it Collinsworth on their crew, whoever it was, did a good job of pointing out what they did wrong the first time. They acknowledged it in the interviews, and then did the same exact thing again on Sunday. So thank you, Rams. And I would not be looking to hire their defensive coordinator for anything.
Agreed. Okay.
All right.
The game of the weekend, and it actually turned out to be the game of the weekend, pretty
It
much.
actually did. It rarely delivers like that, but it did.
Wow. 27-25. Bills win. We both picked the Bills, and we both got it right.
Incredible.
Um,
I'm surprised we were all, everything worked out like that. That's pretty cool.
and once again, the winning team did basically nothing on offense.
Yeah.
Josh Allen had 127 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. But he did have 2 rushing touchdowns. And by the way, I know he's always been a threat for rushing touchdowns, but this year it seems like he has way more than he normally does.
Yeah, I don't know
He's
the
got a
numbers.
lot of rushing
Yeah,
touchdowns.
I don't know the numbers off the top of my head if we're right about that or not. But I'll tell you too, he's it's almost like he's turned into more of a beast. He's always been a beast, but now he's like
He's like running
cracking
people
people.
over.
He's running like he's Mike Allstott now. It's like
It's crazy.
it's so fun to watch this guy, man. He is something else.
So
And I'll
he
tell you
has
what,
2 touchdowns rushing.
yeah. And his game looks almost exactly like a slightly less efficient version of Jalen Hurts' game.
Yeah, yeah,
Less rushing yardage,
yep,
more incompletions, and about the same exact yardage. So it's funny too. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Jalen's a top 10 guy, and neither of them played their A game, but both teams won. Fascinating.
absolutely, absolutely. Can't take that away. Um, Yeah, I'm just going over these stats.
Oh yeah,
No, there's nothing. I mean, James Cook had 67 yards. They ran for 147, which isn't bad as a team. They had 4 people running,
yeah,
uh, but nobody went off. Shakir had 67 yards, and then nobody caught over 20 yards.
incredible. And one thing, real quick, while we're on the Bills stats, I want to point out and check this out moving forward. And one thing I noticed about Shakir, I meant to say this a month ago, and I always kept forgetting. Dude, whatever the amount of catches he has, always. I mean, there's probably an exception here and there, but way more than any other receiver I've ever seen. The number of catches correlates to the number of yards he's going to get. If he has 6 catches, he's going to get between 60 and 69 yards. If he has 7 catches, between 70 and 79 yards, etc. It's like that all the time, and I guarantee you, he averaged somewhere around 10 yards a catch. Probably maybe 11.
That's fantastic.
I love it.
Um, uh, let's see here. Oh, and of course, as we've been saying, they had absolutely no turnovers and 1 penalty all game.
Yeah, wow, wow.
I mean, Baltimore only had 5. There's only 6 penalties in the entire game, but Buffalo had 1.
Incredible. That's the way that's playing good football, man. Wow.
Yeah, no turnovers and 1 penalty. That'll forgive a lot of sins.
No doubt, no doubt. Perfectly put.
So Lamar Jackson on the other side goes 254, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. Henry was bottled up 64 yards, did get a touchdown. Justice Hill had 50. Lamar had another 39. They ran for 176, more than the Bills. Lamar passed for way more than Josh Allen. Likely had a touchdown, 70 yards. Nobody went crazy with yardage for them either, though. But Lamar Jackson had an interception and a fumble. That is the first time this season he's had 2 turnovers in one game.
I know, incredible, incredible. Yeah, his it's and and there was a real good possibility that the narrative of sorry, struggling for the word, the narrative of this game was going to be Lamar loses again, turns the ball over, blah blah blah. But guess who saved him from that?
Well, we all know who saved him from that. And that's Mark Andrews. He loses a fumble on a play. I don't even know where he was thinking he was going to be able to go. Was careless with the ball on the fumble.
And that was his first fumble since like 2019 or something. They said during the
Right,
season.
which is crazy.
And crazy, crazy.
And then on a play to tie the game,
Oh,
he drops the ball, and people are talking about, oh, it wasn't the greatest pass, whatever. It
course,
was
Taylor.
right to him. It was in his chest.
It
It
was
wasn't
this.
that low.
It
It
was
was.
this same exact play, Craig, almost as you remember when Saquon Barkley dropped that
Yeah.
pass earlier this season.
You know what you reminded me of? Reminded me of Jackie Smith.
Oh my God, that's perfect.
And I remember the call. Jackie Smith, my God, bless his heart, he's got to be the sickest man in America.
Oh, that's tough, man. Wow. Yes. Oh, that's cool. It
But that
sucks
was
because
in the
and
Super
Jackie
Bowl.
Smith was one of the best tight ends of his era.
Yeah, and that was in the Super Bowl.
Yep. And he was one of the best, and that's what a lot of people remember. And it's just
And his play was way tougher than Mark Andrews because he was sliding.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean, quick.
hit him in the chest but he went down and was sliding on his butt across to catch that. But it did hit him right in the chest once he was in that position, uh, and it just bounced right out, and he flipped out while he was on the ground there for a minute. And yeah, I just remember the announcer saying he's got to be the sickest man in America.
Wow, that's a good pull. Wow. Yeah, no, then it's just a shame because Mark Andrews has been one of the best tight ends in football for his whole career. And
Yep.
that this doesn't change that, but it's just such a shame. I mean, it was right there for him. They pulled, despite Lamar having 2 turnovers for the first time all season, he played well enough to get them back in this game. And they have it right there for them to send it to overtime and clunk.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what happened in overtime? They
Who
still could
knows?
have lost, but
Sure.
but but geez, it should have went to overtime.
And it's just such a
And
shame for fans too, just fans of the
yeah,
game, you
and
know?
probably 9 times out of 10 it would have went to overtime. It's just this was the 10th.
I would say
So
999 out of 1,000.
and this was the
Especially
one.
if it's Mark Andrews trying to catch that ball, that dude's not dropping that ball many other times. It just blows my mind that's how it went. You know?
Yeah, I was pretty close on the score. I had 27-23, so it was 27-25.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I forgot to pat myself on the back real quick, Craig, because the Eagles game was 20.
28-22, and you had 28-23.
Yes. So
Fantastic.
we both got real close on one. That's awesome.
All right. Well, oh, one last thing, because we've been mentioning Baltimore's defense playing so much better,
Yes.
and they played well again. Obviously, the numbers for Buffalo show you that the Baltimore's defense was playing well.
No doubt.
They were actually the last 7 weeks the number one defense in all of football.
I saw that they popped that up during the game, and that was yeah, it was by yardage, by points, and I forget one other stat. I forget what it
Everything.
was.
I thought they were playing better. I didn't realize they were playing that much better.
No,
But
you yeah,
wow.
we it's funny that we were both on that, but we weren't quite that on it. I mean, that was jaw dropping. I didn't realize they had really gotten it together that much. And the one stat that wasn't number one up there was their pass defense, and I thought that's how the Bills were going to have to win this game. But they won with Josh Allen throwing for 127 yards, so there went that theory.
Yeah. Just a kind of an odd game that Buffalo was able to still win somehow with nothing going on really.
Right, right. Completely
But
agree. Fascinating.
they're gonna need something going on next week. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
they are. Yes, they are. I love it.
Okay. Well, it's time to preview the conference championship games.
I love it.
Preview and predict.
Dun dun dun.
So the first game, the early game, is your game. Philly versus Washington, and go ahead.
All right, my man. So listen, this Washington team makes me nervous. They beat the Eagles without Jalen Hurts about a month ago. And it was one of those, it was part of that magical Jaden Daniels last possession 5 weeks in a row wins. So I've seen it up close and personal. They showed an ability to shred this really good Eagles defense. So I hope Vic Fangio is so good that I have faith that he'll figure something out to at least slow them down a little bit so they're not scoring in the 30s, hopefully. But two things that really favor the Eagles, and it sucks because they lost their guard Sam Cosmi this week. He got his knee bent back; it looked ugly, and
Yep.
he's out for the rest of the playoffs. Such a shame. He's supposedly their best offensive lineman from everything I read, so that can't be good for them. Another one, and I didn't see today's practice reports before we started, but Bobby Wagner has been a DNP through Wednesday, and that would be massive if that dude can't play.
Yep. Yep. I agree.
On the Eagles side, they don't have N'Kobe Dean, who is a younger, trying to be their version of Bobby Wagner, and he had a heck of a season, so that hurts them for sure. Although his replacement is very good, and I'm blanking on his name right now, but he played a heck of a game this week. And the big thing for them is a Quinion Mitchell going to be able to play. Now he's participated in walkthroughs, so it's looking good. But if they don't have him, that is a shutdown corner that they don't have, and that means Terry McLaurin or whoever, Diami Brown, whoever is going to be over there with him, is going to have a lot easier day. So,
Yeah.
all that being said, I'm taking the birds. They and I, but if we don't do upset picks at this point because there's only 2 games, and it would be kind of
Right.
silly. But if I was taking my upset pick, it would be Washington because they scare the crap out of me right now. But I'm taking the birds 31-28.
All right, I actually have it not as close as you. Um,
Let's go with yours then.
Philadelphia is the better team. I don't really have too much of a preference because I hate both teams.
Yeah, fair enough. Yes.
I think Washington is a nicer story, so I guess I would prefer Washington to win, just because that would be a crazy story for to have a rookie go to the Super Bowl, because I don't think it's ever happened before.
That's a good question. I'd have to, yeah, we have to
Rookie
look that up now.
quarterback. I'm pretty sure. I know for sure a rookie quarterback has never won the Super Bowl, but I don't know if even a rookie has ever even gone. Because
That's,
Dan Marino, I always thought was a rookie that year, but he wasn't. That was his second year.
yeah, that's, I learned that same thing after the fact. Yes.
So I think no rookie's ever gone. And like I said, and I know for sure no rookie's ever won it. So that would be a nice story if that's the case. Even so, it's so rare; it still would be cool. And I have nothing against Jaden Daniels himself, so that's fine. And I just saw Philly win it, so I'd rather not see them win it again. Um, so I guess I would prefer Washington, but I'm picking Philly. They're the better team. Washington's a nice story, but I think it ends here, 34-20. I think Philly's defense will be a big problem for Washington. It's going to be different this time around. Like you said, Vic Fangio is a great defensive coordinator. He will learn from the last game. Plus, they didn't have, they were down Hurts and everything. But the defense definitely didn't play all that well that game. But Fangio will figure that out, I think, and keep them to 20 points. And Phillies offense should be able to move the ball pretty well against Washington. 34-20.
I love it. Sign me up. Write it down. Put it in stone. I'll take it. Uh, yeah, and listen, I am sweaty and nervous because this is my team. I really do think I mean, they're favored by 6 for a reason, and they are the better team overall. So I really do think they're going to win this game. And I like your confidence. I'm gonna try and use that on myself a little bit. And by the way, while you were breaking that down, I found that the only rookie quarterback in the history, starting quarterback in the history of the Super Bowl, was Ben Roethlisberger in Super Bowl 40,
Oh, okay.
which I didn't remember he was a rookie. That I forgot about that, but I
Did
kind of remember it
wait?
now that I'm
Didn't they
reading
win that?
it. It
No.
said
No.
that there's no rookie one. Who won? Was that the one
Okay.
where they lost to the Colts? Maybe.
Uh, no, that can't be. That wouldn't be the Super Bowl.
Oh, duh.
Uh,
Super Bowl 40.
that Green Bay. That was Green Bay.
Wait, it says it's the Seahawks, and they did win that. Something's wrong. Hold on. Maybe it's just giving me the youngest. Oh, it's just that he was the youngest. It was in his second season.
Well, there you go.
Good
So
call.
no
Yeah.
rookie's ever gone.
Nope. Because that's what because Ben Roethlisberger came up when I put in did a rookie ever start. So apparently no.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Good one.
All right. Well, Buffalo at Kansas City. Um,
Fun game. Holy moly.
fun game. Cannot wait for this one. Um, this is a coin flip, kind of like Buffalo Baltimore last week.
Yeah. Great.
I can see this going either way. I think Buffalo wants this so bad, though. I honestly think Buffalo's actually going to do this and finally get it done and finally jump over Kansas City. I have Buffalo winning this game 26-21.
Okay.
So I
Well,
have a Buffalo Philadelphia Super Bowl.
I would love that. I would absolutely love that. Okay. Now, I've been I've for a long time this season. I was the defender of the Chiefs in a certain sense because they were, I just kept thinking here it's right around the corner. It's right around the corner. And then finally, it really started kicking in the last 3 weeks of the regular season or so. And then they went right back to being the offensive chiefs of most of the regular season in the playoffs. So I don't know what to make of this team. They always win. They won.
Yeah,
They have 2 losses this year, 1 or 2 losses, whatever it is. They just always pull it out. But this is not the year for them. The
this
Bills
is.
are.
I just can't. First of all, it's another thing too. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Please no.
Um, the 3 years in a row thing is real.
Yeah.
I can't see them winning a third one in a row here. I know they want it, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do it. I just think they're 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 ready to they're fit to be plucked here. This is where they're gonna stumble, I think, a little bit. And yeah, I don't like what I saw all year pretty much. And then last week they went right back to it. And yeah, I just did not like 212 total yards.
Yeah, which is totally understandable. I mean, who would? You know, that's not a pretty number. So, um, yeah, this is I don't know this for a fact, but I'm guessing that them being a 1.5 point favorite at home is the smallest favorite they've ever been in a championship game.
Yep.
You can't get much smaller, so I guess it's not that much of a statement, but but it tells you that we're not alone thinking that the Bills can win this game. So yeah, listen, the Chiefs can definitely win. I will not be surprised if they win because that's just what they do. But the Bills are playing so well this year. Josh Allen feels like a man possessed. I'm taking the Bills, and the Bills D is playing well enough to give the Chiefs, who aren't spectacular on offense, enough fits, I think. So I'm going to take the Bills. I'm going to take them super close, 28-27.
Yep. And for both games, I wouldn't be surprised whoever wins either game.
Yeah, same. I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. This it would if we had a
Washington would be
Washington
the biggest.
Chiefs
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
Yeah. Can you imagine a Washington Chiefs or see Philadelphia Buffalo would complete the gauntlet for Buffalo in terms of losing to every NFC East team in the Super Bowl.
Oh my God, that's so funny. I didn't even think about that. That's awesome.
They lost to the Giants, Redskins, and Dallas twice.
That's awesome. Oh man, can they bring
I, I
Scott Norwood out of retirement?
I would root for Buffalo, but if Philly won that, that would be pretty. That would be pretty funny if
That
they
would be.
lost to every NFC East team in the Super Bowl, and every appearance they've ever had, it was against an NFC East team, and they lost.
Oh, I didn't even think about that, Craig. That's awesome. That would be so funny. Oh, that'd be so funny. I love that. Oh, that's an extra little bonus right there.
All right. Well, we wanted to mention what we think for the awards as well in this podcast.
Yes.
So, not who we predicted at the beginning of the year, who we think now is going to win. We'll start with Offensive Player of the Year.
Okay. You want to go first, or you want me to?
I mean, I think it's obvious it's going to be Saquon. Well, it's Saquon or Jamar Chase, but
Yeah.
I'm going to go Saquon.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's Saquon for sure, and it just Chase has a great case. He had a hell of a year, but
Well, he won the Triple Crown
right,
for the
exactly,
season.
exactly. Now, and that's incredible, but it's happened a lot. It's happened like 3 times in the last 5 years, so it's not like baseball where it doesn't happen much.
Right.
So if it was like baseball, forget the discussion. It would have been Chase, period. But because it's relatively semi-common thing, even though it's spectacular, and any other year it probably would have been Jamar Chase. Barkley was the story this year, and it's going to be Barkley.
Totally, totally agree.
And I put I made a little. I didn't do this with everything, but I made a top three. Derrick Henry's going to be right there with Chase at 2.
Yep. Okay. I didn't do the top three.
It's okay. It's no worries.
All right. Defensive Player of the Year. Who do you have?
Okay. Okay. This is the guy who I brought him up last year too, and I'm going to bring him up every year until he finally wins, and that is Trey Hendrickson.
That's
Trey
exactly
Hendrickson.
who I have.
Do you really? I love it. Thank you, Craig. Thank you. And because listen, Myles Garrett is second in the league in sacks, and he is incredible.
Yeah, but Trey
Um,
Hendrickson is number one in sacks.
by 3.5. It's
Yeah.
not like you just beat him by, 1 or 1.5 or something. It's domination. And now listen, Garrett can make the same claim, but not everybody on that sack leader list can. They have a garbage team that they're playing for. The Cleveland's D is actually way better than the Bengals. But Hendrickson is doing that when he is the sole focus of the entire defense. There's nobody else on that team that anybody really cares about.
Yep. Yep. They go into the week trying to plan to stop him and only him, and they still can't do it.
100%. So impressive. Year after year, he does it. Year after year. And you could find people not quite as nerdy about it, and I mean that in total positive way as you and me about football and sports in general. But serious football fans, you could ask, and they wouldn't know who he is, which is crazy to
I
me.
agree. I agree. He's not well known at all.
Yep, he's one of the best unknown or not well known players in the league, and he has been for like 5 years.
The only downside of it is the fact that overall their defense was nothing special.
Exactly, and that to me, that's even more of a credit to him because the whole defense sucks, and for him to be able to do that when they were honestly probably triple teaming him at times this year, that is so impressive to me.
Yeah, that's true too.
And real quick too, I have two honorable mentions I want to mention because this award, much like MVP has become the quarterback award, which we'll get to soon enough. Um, Defensive Player of the Year has kind of become the sack leader award in a way, and it's understandable. I actually agree this year. I think Trey Hendrickson should be the guy, but there's two names I want to mention because they get the short shrift sometimes in the secondary, and that is Kirby Joseph and Xavier McKinney, two of the best safeties in football this year. One of them the Giants let walk, like Barkley. Nice work, Giants. Thank you. Xavier McKinney, who signed with the Packers, had 8 interceptions.
Yeah, he led the league.
He was one behind Kirby Joseph, who had not.
Oh, my bad.
He was you're right. He was
At
leading the
one
league
point,
until the last couple weeks.
okay,
Uh,
yeah, he was. I know. I remember hearing that he was the league leader, but it was a few weeks ago.
yeah, he was for a massive chunk of the season. You were absolutely correct, and then Kirby got him at the end. And then behind those two guys, just like Hendrickson had a 3.5 sack lead, the next after McKinney is 6. So Kirby Joseph led the league in picks by 3. So I just wanted to throw those guys out there because Kirby Joseph and their other safety on the Lions, whose name I'm blanking on right now, were the reason they didn't give up 47 points a game because their corners did not play well and were banged up this year.
Okay,
Awesome.
awesome. Um, all right, you want to move on to coach?
Sure. All right.
I think I picked my guy that I'm going to continue to pick. I think I picked him at the beginning of the year as well. I don't remember. I could go back and check, but
I do remember who
regardless,
you picked, so I'm curious to who you're going to say.
okay. Minnesota's O'Connell.
Oh, you picked and I'm blanking on his name, but the guy who
Oh,
was defense.
Seattle's. I picked
Yes,
Seattle's.
yes, which wasn't a bad pick at all. It's way better than my. Well, actually, I guess my guy kind of redeemed himself in the playoffs, but that doesn't matter in the voting. It was still better than probably than my D'Amico Ryan's pick.
Right. As I said it, I remembered that it was I picked the Seattle guy.
No, all
But
good, all good. And Kevin
but who
O'Connell's
I
a
think
great
will
choice.
get it, I'll say O'Connell.
Yeah, that's listen. It's hard to argue. It's very hard to argue, but I will give you an argument. I'm going to go Dan Quinn, coach of the Commanders,
Yep.
and Kevin O'Connell had the regular season record, no doubt about it, and he may end up winning this sucker. But I was so impressed by what Dan Quinn did, and I know we can't factor in the guys who vote on this can't factor in the playoffs, but I also can't help that I've seen it, and since we're doing this now, I'm going Dan Quinn.
Yeah, that they're probably going to be 1-2 regardless.
They are, and I don't know who will win. I think if I had to bet it, I would probably bet O'Connell because they do the voting before the playoffs, and he had the better record by I think 2 games.
I
And,
just realized I did not do rookie of the year.
oh, okay, and I did an offensive and defensive rookie of the year.
All right, well, I think offense is pretty obvious.
Pretty obvious. Yep,
So Jaden Daniels is going to win that.
no doubt. And then you have a massive cluster of honorable mentions at number 2 between Bo Nix, Brock Bowers, Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors. You can even throw in Lad McConkey if you want to, because he was right on the heels of those other 3 great pass catchers. So yeah,
Ryan Thomas.
who was it?
Thomas for Jacksonville.
Yes, I thought I said him. You are correct.
Oh, if you
I
did,
might
I'm
have
sorry.
not. Thank you if I didn't. And Yeah, I mean, just an unbelievable crop of offensive rookies, Craig. I don't remember this many offensive rookies making this kind of impact in a single season ever. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
have anything to
it's
back that
crazy.
up, but it just feels like it to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know who would be number 2.
Yeah, I don't
I,
either. I mean, I might give the edge to Nix just because he's a quarterback, but you could make a case for any one of the names I mentioned, and maybe somebody I'm forgetting.
yep, yep.
You could probably make a case for Bucky Irving too, actually.
Yeah, he was great.
Yep.
All right. Defensive. I got nobody. Like I said, I didn't do the rookies. I forgot.
Okay, I have something to help you with that because where is it? Hold on one sec here, and I have some valuable information. All right, here we go. So the finalists have come out.
Oh, okay.
They have knocked this down to a top five, and so far our lists are right in line with them. But for defensive rookie of the year, now I'll give you my choice first, and this is a homer pick, but it's also legit. I'm going Quinion Mitchell. This guy walked into the league and instantly became a shutdown corner. He has almost no counting stats. I don't think he had an interception until the playoffs, but he became a guy nobody wanted to throw to by week three or throw at by week three, which is insane to walk into the NFL and become a shutdown corner in your first month. So
Yep.
I'm going Quinion. He's one of the guys in the top five. My the other guys, and two of them are tied at number two for me. And one just had a hell of a game against the Eagles. That is Jared Verse.
Oh,
Braden,
he's very good.
oh, very good. Braden Fisk, his teammate, who actually outsacked him in the regular season, 4.5. And then Chop Robinson for the Dolphins, and another Eagle, Cooper DeJean.
Yeah, I think Quinion is the best one there.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Like, if we were including the playoffs, you could make a case for Verse because he had one hell of a game against the Eagles.
He had a
But
good game the week before too.
yeah, and they had some. Did you see they set some kind of record for most sacks in two playoff games with I think it was 16, something crazy like that,
Well, they had 9
and then
last
seven against
week
the
and
Eagles.
then 7. Yeah, so you go 16 sacks in 2 weeks.
That's crazy. And Verse went off. Like that dude, he looked good all season. He just wasn't getting home. You know what I mean? Like he
Yep.
only
And
had
then he
four.
and then he got that fumble return.
Yes, yes. So
Yeah.
watch. I mean, the Rams' defensive line just got the same exact. Look at what happened this year in the Rookie of the Year voting. Eagles have two cornerbacks, and the Rams have two defensive linemen.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
That's nuts. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And then Chop Robinson in there, the Penn State guy. Gotta love that. But yeah, I'm with you on Quinion Mitchell. And
Right.
then and just to back up what we've said so far, we did Defensive Player of the Year. Trey Hendrickson is in there for sure. The other guys were Myles Garrett, Patrick Surtain, and my Eagle linebacker. This was a very pleasant surprise. Not that he didn't earn it, but I just didn't think he was a big enough name to get there. Eagles linebacker Zach Baun, who has been an absolute revelation this year. They got him cheap for. I mean, he was on the Saints for 4 years, wasting away. Vic Fangio said, "I think this guy can do more than what he's doing down there," and he became an. I don't know if he was borderline All Pro. I don't know if he made it or not, but he's definitely a Pro Bowler, and he made the top five for this. I love it.
Wow.
Yeah. And then Offensive Rookie of the Year, we named all the guys,
Okay.
and I guess that's it. So yeah, where do you want to go next? We have what MVP and coach still.
Did we
Oh no,
just
we
do
did coach.
coach?
We did coach. So
So
just MVP, right?
just MVP.
Okay.
Well, who are the 5?
Okay. So they are Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Saquon Barkley, Joe Burrow, Jared Goff.
All right. Well, so between Lamar and Josh Allen.
Yeah. And I don't know, man. This is so hard. I'm flip
Yeah, I
flopping
have
on it
no
right
idea.
now as we're talking.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't write anybody for it. Um, oh man, uh, this is very difficult. I've been saying Allen, so I'm going to stay with it. But it would not at all surprise me if Lamar wins it.
Yeah, this is so hard. I've been saying Lamar all along, but I'm starting to think it might be Allen. I don't know, man. It's so tough. If you just look at the numbers, which this award is never about, because if it was, Trey
Lamar,
Hendrickson would have won Defensive Player of the Year a couple times already.
yeah, and Lamar would be the runaway.
Yeah, And listen, Josh Allen had incredible numbers, but
But
Lamar's
the,
were a
but the
little
year
better.
that you're right, and if it was by numbers, Dak would have won it last year because he had way better numbers than Lamar last year.
Exactly. So it's not all. It's about narrative. It's about getting hot at the right time. It's about all these different things. Now, the thing is, and this is where I struggle because I really thought, even though I was saying it should be Lamar Jackson, I was agreeing with you that I thought it would be Josh Allen because of voter fatigue and whatever else you want to say. However, Josh, while getting wins and playing okay, he didn't put up good numbers the last 2 weeks of the season. And Lamar, he didn't. I'm sorry. The second last week he played but didn't put up good numbers. The last week he didn't play
Yep.
because they clinched. While Lamar Jackson was still putting up really good numbers. So
Yep.
that could be the difference here to get Lamar back in it. I'm going to go Lamar, but I don't feel
Okay.
confident about it at all.
Now we all know. So we know the other one is number two. Number three is very interesting,
It is.
and I know Saquon's there. I was behind him to get votes anyway, and I think he will get votes. And I say number three is going to be Joe Burrow.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, I'm going to go Barkley. And I think the Bengals not making the playoffs, I think, clinched it. But we'll see because Burrow's got a good case.
Yeah, I mean he's got numbers that rival that he's got more touchdowns than anybody. That's for sure.
No doubt. No
And I
doubt.
think he has more yards than everybody too.
I'm not
Passing yards.
100%, but it would. You're probably right. And he's the only one of the five people in that conversation that was playing golf before the playoffs started.
Yes.
So I'm curious to see where that lands because it wouldn't just like where I think Barkley's three and you think Burrow's three. I wouldn't be surprised if that flip flopped just as much as I wouldn't be surprised if Josh Allen was the MVP and Lamar wasn't, or vice versa.
Yep. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to get the passing leaders
Oh, good. Yeah. Okay.
just to see where they all stack up.
That's a great question.
Okay, so yeah, he had. Now we're going just passing.
Mm-hmm.
He had 43 touchdowns, led the league. Baker had 41, and Lamar had 41.
Wow.
Uh, I don't. Why doesn't it have his yardage? Oh, and his yardage. Oh yeah, wow. He had 4,900 yards,
That's crazy, man.
almost 5,000.
Wow. Who's second?
Looks like second is Jared Goff
Interesting.
with 4,600 yards.
Yeah, I just found it too.
But he
Okay.
led it by 300 yards.
Yeah, that's all. That's a massive chunk. Look, he also, by the way, and this isn't a positive or a negative. This is just an interesting number. He threw the ball 70 more times than anybody else I can find in this list, down to Brock Purdy.
Yep,
That's wild. They throw the ball that much.
yep. He had a
I would too
thousand
if I
more
had Joe
yards
Burrow.
than Patrick Mahomes.
How many more?
1,000.
Where did Mahomes end up? I can't even find him. Oh, there
He
he is.
has 3,900, and Burrow had 4,900.
You know, it's funny because Mahomes, after being just a dynamic number guy for however the first 5, 6 years of his career, has turned into almost back into Tom Brady from years 1 through 3 or so. I remember Tom Brady was good for just under 4,000 yards. There were 2 years in a row. I think he had 28 touchdowns and 12 picks, and it's
He was
wild.
also yeah, he was also 70% completion percentage.
Yeah, man. Which is looks like he was fourth in the league there.
Yep.
Which is, by the way, this is how far we've come in the NFL in the passing game over the years. I forget, I think it was Caleb Williams. I saw a little breakdown about the other day, and his completion percent. If I'm remembering right, whoever it was, I think it was Caleb, was 62% completion percentage this year, and that ranked them 29th in the league. Craig,
I remember 60% leading the league.
that used to be great. It used to be great, and now it's pathetic. It's crazy.
Unbelievable. So yeah, so there you go.
Yeah, he has monster numbers, man. You cannot argue those numbers. I'm just curious to see where they weigh not making the playoffs and
Right.
Barkley's historic year for a running back because
Yep.
it's going to be interesting, man. I've never been this interested in to see who's going to finish third in an MVP voting. Ooh,
And I still say if they made the playoffs,
mhm.
I think he would have won it.
There's a real case to be made at that point.
Or it would be a 3-man race where anybody, where everybody has an opinion, where it could go either way, any of the three.
I agree with that 100%, and it wouldn't surprise me if they made the playoffs. It wouldn't surprise me at all if he ended up winning at all.
Too bad, man. I mean, I don't know what that team just cannot get over the hump ever. And
They got to figure out their early season BS. And I don't get it. Like the one year it made sense because
yeah,
Burrow was coming off a big injury. Not this year with the wrist because he played great right away. But
yeah,
the year
and
before I think it was. But yeah, it just doesn't make sense. They can't get going.
yeah, and it is. I mean, it's cool that they always do end up making it interesting, at least
Yeah, yeah,
making
yeah.
a run at the end. Because even this year, I thought this was not going to happen this year. I was like, well, they're way too buried this year. It's not going to be, and up until the last week, they still had a shot.
And we ended up being right, but by a whisper. I
Yeah,
mean, that was crazy. And the year
I mean, I
before,
wrote them off by like week 7.
yeah, totally. I mean, and like it seemed like justifiably so, but boom, they got back in, and it's crazy too because they were in the same exact position last year, but they did it with Jake Browning,
Yep,
which is, I mean, that's wild. I don't know what to make of what's his name, Zach Stacy, their head coach.
I
Zach,
believe so.
Zach, yeah, he. I don't know what to make of this guy because the dude can clearly coach offensive football. You know what I mean? Clearly.
No doubt about that.
but when your record in September is something like a 200 win percentage, or it's just crazy, man. I don't know. They're a fascinating team, and there wasn't a whisper about him getting fired at all this offseason that I heard. So he's just rolling right into the next season.
Yep. Speaking of coaches getting fired or hired, we have the Jets getting their man, Aaron Glenn.
You called that, my friend. Good call.
So I did call. Um, we'll see. I mean, they go in every time whenever there's a new head coach coming in. It brings a little bit of optimism, and you never know when you're going to get the guy, the one who's going to be there forever, who's going to be a really good coach for you for a long time. Uh, I have nothing against the Jets. I actually kind of like the Jets, and I would like to see them with some sort of monicum of success. So I kind of hope it does work out for them.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm with you there.
but whatever. But I don't know. Who knows? Another defensive guy, though. I wish they got an offensive guy because
Yeah,
they always
that
get defensive guys.
he better come with a good offensive guy, man. He better come up with something good. I'm with you. And listen, I don't know what to make of this hire. I like Aaron Glenn. Like I said last week, like nobody looks cooler on the sideline than Aaron Glenn, and I loved him as a player. He was a hell of a corner. I'm really not clear on why he was a big head coaching candidate. The Lions defense is okay. Um, they just got 45 hung on him by the Commanders right before he got hired, so it was a weird time. But
Yep.
but I'm happy for the dude. I like him, so I hope it works. But this is not a hire I would have made personally.
Yeah, I don't know. It's totally up in the air. I'm not sure, but we'll see. They got their
Yeah,
guys, so they're gonna run with them. We'll see what happens.
and I'm
The
rooting for him
defense,
because the Jets
hopefully,
just are a mess.
yeah, hopefully he can fix at least the defense.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And I think he can do that. I think he can
Yeah,
do that. He can bring back some at least professionalism, that left when Salah got fired to the
is he
defense.
is he interviewing again,
He's been interviewing a lot. He's interviewed with,
Salah?
yes, yes. Um,
Not for head coaching though, right? Defensive
oh no,
coordinator.
he's been interviewed at least two different places for head coach. Now, keep in mind, and this is going to sound bad, but there's the Rooney Rule, and he's black, so I think he's getting some of those interviews just to fill the stupid quota thing that they have to do.
Right. I think he's going to get a job as a D coordinator.
I do too. I don't think it would
I
be
mean,
insane. You'd have to be Trent Baalke to look at this and think that that guy deserves another job after what he did with New York.
Right. No, he does not deserve it. Obviously, he should not get it. He won't get it. But he did show that he's a good defensive coordinator, though.
Oh, absolutely.
So I
Listen,
think he'd be a great defensive coordinator somewhere.
he was the DC of a great 49er defense, and they suffered since he left. By the way, big time.
Yeah. So he can go there and do that and be good at it and get his respect back.
If my team needed a defensive coordinator, I'd be pretty fired up if that was my guy. If that was the guy they hired,
Yeah, because he's shown that he can do it.
no doubt. If my team needed a head coach and they hired him, I'd consider
No.
changing teams.
Yeah, right. 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 Right.
Oh, and I have one fun little thing, real quick, if you don't mind, before I completely forget this. I was looking up different things when I was doing the awards, and I was trying to remember who the last Coach of the Year was, and I found a very interesting thing. Can you name the head coach in the NFL who has won Coach of the Year 2 times since 2020?
2 times.
Yep, he won it in 2020 and he won it last year. And if you had given me $1 million, I never would have come up with it.
Okay, so I'm not even going to bother. Who?
How about this one, my friend? Kevin frickin' Stefanski,
Stefanski.
the coach of the Cleveland Browns.
He won it last year.
He won it last year, and I think I was trying to remember what the deal was, and it had to be because they went 11-6 and made the playoffs with Joe Flacco.
Yeah,
Now,
that'll do it.
yeah, so that was perfect summary of everything I just said. That'll do it. You were correct. Now, I don't know what I mean. They were 11-5 in 2020, so he had a good. It was probably his first year in Cleveland, and he turned around the team and took them to the playoffs. But does anybody in the world think that Kevin Stefanski is one of the best 2 or 3 coaches in football?
No, I don't think he's terrible, but I don't think he's great. He's middle. Middle. He's directly in the coaching muck.
Yes, and it's fascinating to me to think like 100 years from now, when football historians are trying to figure out who the best of this and that were in the early 21st century, and they see this Kevin Stefanski guy must have been something, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
So this is, and the only fun other thing I have to say about that, and I find it interesting, is that that award more than most is a story award as opposed to a success award. Andy
Yeah.
Reid, Andy Reid is not on this list since 2002.
What?
Andy Reid has not won Coach of the Year since he was his third. That would have been his third or fourth year with the Eagles.
Jeez.
So that coach is a little funky.
It's a
That award,
It's fugazi.
fugazi is the perfect word, my friend.
It's not a real award.
I love it. I love it. I just thought that
I
was
like MVP. To be honest, it's just best quarterback.
right. Exactly. Yep. But it's funny because it's best quarterback, and then the offensive player is their offensive player of the year is best of what's left.
Yeah, best running back or receiver. Yep.
Totally. It's funny, man. All right. I also have some true and false. Did we finish the awards? We did, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. What do we got for true and false?
Okay. I think I just have two.
Oh, by the way, real quick, I'm going to mention. It looks like my team is going to hire Brian Schottenheimer as the head coach. He's never been a head coach of any football on any level, so this lines up perfectly with the plan.
But what the hell? This is one of the things let's hit coaching stuff first. We'll save the true and false since you brought it up. That's perfect. I was like, what the hell? Like what? What the actual hell is Jerry doing?
I don't know. I don't know. This is a complete disaster.
I'm
I
like,
have no idea what he's thinking, other than the fact that this is another guy that he can control, that he can tell what to do, that he
yeah.
can still be the face of the team. He'll hold the press conferences. He'll go on the radio. He'll still be the face of the team, and the coach won't overshadow him.
I completely agree. Completely agree. It's got to be just disheartening to you as a fan of that team, and I just can't even imagine. Just blows my mind. Yeah. So, do you have anything else you want to say about that? Because I'm not
No,
going to keep on.
other than I hate it.
Yeah, I feel you. I do. That's just mind blowing. Um, okay, so let's talk other coaching moves. The big one this week, the guy, the second the Lions got eliminated from the playoffs, even before Aaron Glenn went to the Jets, Ben Johnson to the Bears.
Yes, yes.
That's the guy I would have wanted this offseason if I was hiring. It would depend on the circumstances. I thought maybe they might go your guy McCarthy in Chicago because they're kind of
I thought so too. I thought they were going to go with him
yeah
because they interviewed him first. They wanted him first.
yeah, it would have made a lot of sense to me because of their lack of any kind of success for so long, and McCarthy can at least show he can get you to the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Yep. And Ben
So
Johnson became like public enemy number one in Detroit because he left the next day.
wow, wow.
They well the not the next day yeah, yeah, no, the next day, right? He
Yeah, he
lost
was.
to
It
them in
was the
10.
next day. It was the next day. That's wild, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He
in,
didn't waste any time.
into a division rival.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. That stings a little for sure. And I don't blame Ben Johnson in the least. He was. The Detroit fans should be thankful that he came back for one more year because he could have taken a job last year.
Yep.
He was just almost just as hot last year. So they got one more year, one more good run out of him. Now listen, this brings up a little discussion on the side of this. The Detroit is going to go through this year exactly what the Eagles went through two years ago now when they lost. Oh, it
Both
sucks.
coordinators.
Yeah, they lost both coordinators, one of the Cardinals, one of the Colts. And we saw how the next year went. They hired two young guys from their staff. Both of them were awful. They fired one three-quarters of the way through the season. That didn't work either. They tried Matt Patricia of all things. You should know that's not going to work. Um, and it was an absolute disaster for the first year without those two guys. So it's going to be real interesting to see what the Lions come up with here to see if they can keep rolling without a stumble like happened to the Eagles.
Yeah, totally agree. They probably will stumble. It'll probably take them, even if they're good, it's going to take them 4 or 5 weeks to get going.
I agree. And we cannot forget what we learned this year, Craig, because we really had that lesson hammered home this year. And I'm with you 100%. We saw
Yeah,
it.
I mean, I saw it with my own team.
You saw it with your team. I saw it with my team 2 years in a row, negative and positive. Um,
Yeah,
there was
I mean, I was ready to string Mike Zimmer up by his toes
yeah,
early on because the defense was so horrible, and then like the last like 6 7 games, it was really really good.
yeah. That was, it took time and he turned it around, and we just
And
have
I
to
and I
remember that.
should have known because when we got him, I read up on him a little bit just to see what we were getting,
Hmm.
and it said plain as day that his defense is very detailed and takes a while to sink in and figure out,
Yes, that's
and they,
that
and they don't have the kind of prep like they used to have.
right,
So
exactly.
yeah,
That's
all
a
that
huge
sinking
point.
in and figuring out is happening in games.
That is a huge point, man. Yeah, they don't practice a tenth of what they used to. So it is a very different day and age. Now, let me ask you this, because I assume at least one thing about this very questionable hire of Schottenheimer, if it happens, is a positive. In that would tell me that Zimmer stays at least.
I think so. I think maybe that was one of the reasons why they're doing this is to keep Zimmer because a lot of coaches come in and they want their own guys,
Right.
and I think it took them all that time to learn Zimmer's defense, and it would really suck to just throw it away after one year
I completely agree.
and have to learn another new one.
Completely agree. So yeah, that part of it at least makes sense. Yeah, so we'll see where all that lands, but that's a fascinating conversation for sure. And Ben Johnson is maybe, I mean, we'll see in the end. But to me, you had to hire either Ben Johnson or Mike McCarthy because they are two guys that have taken quarterbacks and turned them into all pros. Jared Goff was struggling mightily before. Ben Johnson, and Dak Prescott did his best work under Mike McCarthy. So I thought it was going to be one of those two guys, and they got Ben Johnson. So Caleb Williams fans rejoice, because if this guy has a chance to be great in this league,
This
this
is
is
it.
one of the coaches that can let it happen.
Yep. This is the chance.
I agree,
I
man.
agree, man.
All right. And then the other thing I wanted to hit real quick on the hiring and firing front is, boy, we know how Jerry screwed the pooch on the timing of the firing of McCarthy, but that is nothing compared to what happened with Jacksonville this week. When what are we, two full weeks into coaching searches at this point, maybe more, and they finally fire Trent Baalke, their general manager, who should have been fired a long time ago. And I found some really fun Trent Baalke stuff, by the way. This guy, if anybody ever hires
He's the
this
gift
guy,
that, yeah, he's the gift that keeps on giving.
he really is. He really is, Greg. If anybody ever considers even hiring this guy in the league as their general manager again, they should just be forced to sell the franchise because they're that incompetent. It's insane. Now let me just find my Trent Baalke tab here, because it's big. Where is it? Dang it. Here we go. The headline, and this is Yahoo Sports, not just some dude, uh, says Hot Seat Index. Trent Baalke has made a mess of the 49ers. And this is in 2016, okay?
Oh
This
my God.
is this is I was trying to remember what happened and why he got ended up getting out of San Fran. He's the guy, Craig, that forced Jim Harbaugh out of that job after they went to the Super Bowl.
Oh God.
He's that guy. And then he hired Jim Tom Sula. You remember Jim Tom Sula?
Yes, vaguely.
He was, I think he was either the special teams or defensive coordinator under Harbaugh, if I remember right. Had never, he was one of those guys that everybody was like, oh, he's a lifer, good for him, but it just, he wasn't the guy. He wasn't a head coach for a reason. And then he made it even worse the next year, and this is when he never should have been hired again in the first place, Greg. It should have happened after forcing out Harbaugh alone. Then he hired Chip Kelly.
Yeah,
Chip Kelly.
I know.
And then they hired him in Jacksonville after he left there. And he hired Urban Meyer.
Yeah,
So
that's right. Oh my God.
this guy
Oh
forced
my
out
God.
one of the best coaches in football, Jim Harbaugh, and hired Chip Kelly and Urban Meyer. I can't even say it. I can't even get it out. It's so pathetic. So anybody
Wow.
considering bringing this guy into their front office in any way, but certainly as a GM, run for the hills, man.
I totally agree. I did not even realize all that, and that is craziness.
It's insane, isn't it? Absolutely insane. So yeah, Balky is a free agent, and if it was my team, he'd stay that way.
Yeah, I can't imagine he's going to get another chance.
No, I mean it would be shocking. It would be absolutely. It would take somebody as dumb as Shad Khan.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, wow, wow. So
Oh, shit.
Jacksonville's a mess.
Yeah, they're a mess. Although
They
it just became a little more appealing now that they fired Trent Baalke.
right now, who do you think's going to end up there?
And I'm going to answer that question. And on the way, I'm going to say this: the final straw in the firing of Trent Baalke was that Liam Cohen, the offensive coordinator of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, turned him down and an actual offer to be the head coach.
Oh wow, and
And
he's not exactly sought after.
exactly, he wasn't getting, and nobody else made an offer to him. And he's listen, I like him. I think he did a heck of a job with the Bucs offense this year. But he wasn't getting other head coaching interviews. And he said no, thank you, rather than work for Trent Baalke.
Wow. Well, maybe he'll go now if they offer him again.
That would be really interesting. That would be really interesting. I don't think he's a terrible candidate. I don't know enough about him as a leader. I know I like him as an X and O guy. Watching what the Bucs did this year for sure. But yeah. So keep your eyes on that, because the Bucs are going to have to sign a GM, and if it isn't a good one, it could be brutal for them for another decade. They'll
Wow,
probably hire Dave Gettleman.
that would be great.
All right. I think that's all I have in the coaching / GM world. Do you have anything else
Yep.
there?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. And then just two true and falses real quick here. Okay. Number one, Ben Johnson will be the best coaching hire this offseason. And I think it's a good one, but there's a lot
I'm
of
gonna
other
say
coaches.
I'm gonna say false only because there's so many. You don't know who's gonna emerge.
Yeah, I think that's
It's like
fair.
Ben Johnson or the field. I'll take the field.
You're right, and I think just as a betting odds, I would do the same thing. But I also think there's a very, if I had to pick one guy that would be the best hire this offseason, it's Ben Johnson. But I also know that the Bears have a really good propensity for screwing up every good thing that comes their way.
Come on, it's gonna be Brian Schottenheimer.
Hey, listen, if it is Marty still alive? Because if it gets Marty in the building, then let's go.
Marty Schottenheimer. I think he is still alive.
Man, I loved him. I felt so bad that that guy never got his big win because he was a good coach. It just he never was able to win the big one, man. No, he died in 2021. R.I.P. Marty.
Ah,
He was a good one. He looked
I
like a
did not
nice.
realize he died in 20. Yes, he did. February 8th. Damn it.
Yeah, damn.
Well,
I
he had to be up there,
Yeah,
right?
for sure. I mean, he was getting up there when he retired. So, although up there when he retired was probably 60.
Yeah, he was 77.
Okay, okay. Yeah, Marty. He was
Wow.
a great. He was a great coach, man. He never won the big one, but there's a lot of great players and coaches that never won the big one.
Yeah, I didn't realize Brian Schottenheimer. You think of him as Marty's son, but he's not exactly real young. You would think he'd be like in his 40s or something. Is it? I think he's like 60.
Is he? Oh my God! I
Or
would.
no, or like in his 50s. In his 50s. Hold on,
Yeah, because I would have guessed like early 40s. I don't know why.
because you just think of him as Marty's son, and he hasn't been around that long, but he actually has.
51.
Yeah, there
He's
you go.
he's our age
Yeah,
ish.
51 years old.
Yeah, I'm 50. Huh.
Yeah. Wow. So, man,
Fascinating, dude. Fascinating.
so annoying.
It's another Dave Campo.
Yeah.
Oh man!
I
All
mean, he
right.
was the offensive coordinator who didn't call the plays.
Oh my God, that's right.
How do you make him the head coach?
That's freaking right.
He was the OC, but McCarthy called the plays. So what did he actually do?
This was an issue. You remember? You know all the offensive coordinators that have come out of the Andy Reid coaching tree that have not been successful. It's going back to Brad. The guy he was the head coach of the Vice. Brad. Dang it, I'm forgetting it right now. But Matt Nagy,
Oh
um,
yeah.
a whole bunch of like unsuccessful guys. The only success that I can think of off the top of my head, big success that came from the Andy Reid coaching tree on the offensive side of the ball was Doug Peterson, and he was their quarterbacks coach. He never called a play ever. He was never the offensive coordinator even. So yeah, that's an interesting thing, man. That becoming the coach after not being the play caller didn't work out leaving Kansas City. All right, I have one last true and false, if I can read it. Okay, this is interesting, based on how everything's gone at this position over the last, I would say, 10 years. This 10-year run at running back has been fascinating to watch, culminating at its peak in the Ezekiel Elliott contract, and after the bad effects of that contract, everybody reacting to the point where great running backs are getting less than $10 million. So here's the question: the running back market will be different this year, this offseason, after the success of Barkley and Henry.
False.
Okay. See, I'm going to say true. Now, I don't think it's ever going to go back to the Zeke Elliott getting like 80 million guaranteed or whatever the hell that contract was. But I
All
think
right, then yeah, okay, then it could be true, but I was saying false, and I'll never get back to that.
then I'm 100% with you. We're saying the same thing then, just saying it differently. I'm with you 100%. Yeah, because that lesson is still too fresh and it was too well learned. I mean,
Yeah.
but I do think you're not going to see some of these guys that are very good get 2 years for 7.5 million again. I think that like a good running, like I think your guy, a really good example and a good test case for this is I'm pretty sure Rico Dowdle's a free agent. Am I correct about that?
It's either this year or next year.
Because he would be the perfect test case for something like this, actually.
No, because Jerry's the one who gave Zeke that contract, so you can't use him.
Well, no, because it's the market, not Jerry. Because it's the open market. I'm not saying he's going to get it from the Cowboys, but there's 31 other teams.
Um, yeah, it's after. Yep, after 2025.
Oh, so not this year.
Well,
Oh wait,
wait a
it is
minute. I don't know.
2025. Okay, yes. Rico, best Rico Dowdle free agency fit isn't the Cowboy. Oh, so you're saying he is a free agent?
I can. I don't, it says free agency is 2025,
Okay,
but that. So okay, so yeah, then it's got to be this year.
all right. So he's a perfect test case because he broke out this year. He played very well, and
Yeah, when they
and
started actually giving him the ball instead of Zeke, he ran really well.
yeah, he took the job, and when they finally gave it to him, he grabbed it, man. He grabbed it, and he played very well. And I don't think anybody thinks he's a superstar, but I think he made it very clear that he can be a solid NFL running back. And last offseason, I'd be surprised if he would have gotten any better than a 3-year offer for 10 or 12 million dollars. This offseason, I'll be surprised if he doesn't get at least a 3-year offer for 15 million.
Yeah, yeah. He signed a 1 year deal last year for 1.5 million.
There you go. Okay. Okay. And that's understandable because he hadn't proven anything at that point. So
Right.
that was a bargain basement deal, and now he proved it. And I can't wait. It's like there's a list of there's a few there's nobody like Barkley and Henry this year, but there's a list of guys in that Dowdle realm. I should have had the list. I shouldn't have brought it up without having the list. But there's like 5 running backs that are in that sort of ballpark. The at the top of the list would be Aaron Jones.
Right. Right. Now, see, I don't know though. How old is he?
That's the thing, and it's a mitigating circumstance. And listen, he had to take a 1 year deal. That's just why he's a free agent after just joining the Vikings last year. Is because he had to take a 1 year deal because he didn't get anywhere near what he thought he was worth. And I think I want to say he's 29 right now. I could be wrong about that. Aaron Jones.
Right. Right.
Let's
Trying
see.
to
Oh,
see.
he's 30 right now.
Yeah, no one's going to give him anything.
Nah, he's on 1 year deals until he's done.
Yeah, because 30 years old. That's the number.
Yeah, he might get a 2 year
I
deal
mean,
with
because
that isn't
Dowdle's
really a 2 year
what
deal.
is Dowdle? 27, 26?
26.
Yeah, so he's got time.
He's right in running back prime, yeah. Um,
He could even get a 3 year deal, possibly.
Possibly, yeah. It wouldn't stun me, absolutely. Yeah, so that's fascinating. Javante Williams is one of those guys. He's at the bottom of the list. He'll have to take a 1 year prove it deal. Um, but yeah, there's some interesting, like, flawed but good. Like, Rico might be the top running back free agent, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, because Aaron Jones is probably better right now, but Rico's younger. So that's an interesting conversation.
I agree. Yeah, that is interesting. Um, I'm sure Dallas will let him go,
I
and
would guess, yeah.
I'm hoping I'm hoping that they sign a certain running back out of Boise State.
Aha!
They draft him.
It would make a lot of sense. Mel
They need a
Kiper.
running back, and you know what? I know the running back, the market and what everybody says about him, and you shouldn't draft them early. They wouldn't be drafting him all that early. It'd be a first round, but mid first round, and also uh, at the very least, because as a Cowboys fan, I just don't feel I have a feel of dread for a long time. Probably, at
Hmm.
least it will be fun for a little while.
Yes, I get that 100%.
I think it would
Absolutely.
be fun for a while because I can't imagine him coming over to the NFL and being terrible. I think he would be very, very good.
No, I think he's the real deal. I wouldn't, if I was the Cowboys, or if I was a fan of the Cowboys like you, I would have no issue with that at all. I wouldn't mind it in the least. I would like it, actually. Um,
Yeah, again, if we were picking top five, no, but
yeah.
because of the way people view the running backs now, he might be there when they pick because they're picking. I think it's like
For,
early teens, 14,
I want to say
13,
14, but I could be off on that. Yeah.
somewhere in that range, and that might be right about where he goes.
Well, Mel Kiper, and it's interesting. Mel Kiper did his first mock draft last night, and they had the old ESPN show talking about it. And Mel he was the leader of the charge of undervaluing running backs. He's been talking about that since 1986.
Yes. Yeah.
And his opinion has changed less than his hair. And
Yes.
he even had him going number 20, which for Mel Kiper, that's like putting him number one overall.
Right. So if I tell you what, no matter what happens, if he is there when Dallas picks and they don't take him, I'll be pissed.
Yeah, I don't blame you. This guy's a changer. He's a game changer for sure. And I saw firsthand how wise it is not to undervalue the running back position this year when the Eagles signed the biggest running back contract in the offseason.
You put Genti with CD Lamb and Dak back healthy, and then your defense playing better with hopefully getting your all three of your corners on the field for more than one game,
It would be.
and
Ugh.
Parsons back with Demarcus Lawrence, and well, we wouldn't get what's his face back, Lawson,
Oh, right on, right on. Well, I'll
but
tell you this, man. Rico Dowdle just ran for 1,079 yards in a season where he wasn't even the starter or like the full time guy through. I mean, he had 5 carries in a game as late in the season as October 13th. So from that point forward, it was double digits every game. So and he just put up almost 1,100 yards,
yep,
4.6 yards a carry. Giante would walk into that team, and that was in a season where everything that possibly could go wrong for the Cowboys went wrong.
yeah,
Giante would walk into that team, and I would set the over under at 1,500 yards.
I think so. I don't. I think that's a good number.
Yeah.
And probably a lot of touchdowns too, because he's a big enough guy where he's going to be the goal line back too. He's not going to lose any carries at the goal line.
No, he's got. I don't really. I'm starting to understand and learn some of these new wave stats in the NFL, but I
Yep.
still don't even know exactly what it's called. I'm getting there. Hang with us. We're old, but but we're still learning. So, but there's a metric out there that basically tells you if you're a good tackle breaker or not, and he is
Was
the
it like
king of it.
yards after contact or something?
There's that one, but there's another one because
Oh,
yards after contact has been around for a minute. That one I'm familiar with. This is
yep.
a new one that's like I don't even know. It's like 14 letters and a couple acronyms, and
Whatever it is, he's good at it.
it all spells out he's a badass.
Yeah. So yeah, I would love to roll in with a bona fide number one running back instead of a committee and see what happens. And I think with that team, if relative to health, if they stay healthy, that team should be contending, at least contending for the playoffs.
Oh, I agree. I mean, they were a playoff contender this year before they were all the injuries happened. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but even before the injuries happened, they were kind of crap. Remember Dak sitting on the sideline saying, "God, we suck."
No doubt. I mean, they were playing awful, no doubt about it. But everybody considered them a playoff contender going into the season, at least.
Right, right, right. I think the defense is again. You got to stay healthy, but if they
Yep.
stay healthy, the defense should be really good.
Yeah, absolutely. If they can get um uh the two corners, Bland and the other guy, what's his name?
Diggs,
Diggs, and they can get uh
Jordan Lewis is the third one, and he's very good.
if they can get Micah Parsons to play close to a full season, which he usually does, not that that's usually an issue. He's usually been great at it.
Yep.
And Overshawn can come back or Shown, however you
Overshown's
say it.
Overshown's not coming back.
Man,
He's not coming back until 26.
man,
But
that's a
but you
shame.
can get Demarcus Lawrence back on the other side of Parsons.
I forgot about Lawrence.
Yeah, he was their second leading sacker.
Yeah,
He was out like week 3.
yeah, man, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, but Overshown blew out his knee, but it was like week 16 or something. So he needs a whole year. So that's it. He's done. See you in 26.
Yeah, we'll see about that. We'll see about. I remember you said the same thing about Nick Chubb when he went down and he played in Week 8 the next year. So
Yeah, that's
because
true. Hey, I really hope I'm wrong.
yeah, I
Obviously,
do too
because
because this
that guy
guy,
was fun.
yeah, he's a dynamic young player. I'm hoping that
They got
you know,
him in the second round.
yeah, that's a steal. I never even heard of the guy when he was playing in college. which is I can't believe I never heard his name. I
But
mean,
he's
obviously,
lightning fast. That's another thing I hope though. Like he's got an injury now with the knee. Both knees have been repaired. Both knees had blown ACLs.
yeah, it's interesting, man. We'll
So
see
I
if he
hope he can
can.
keep his speed because if that's the best part of his game.
Yeah, that could be a factor for sure. Although, I mean, people come back from injuries like nothing anymore. So we'll see. Hopefully, he'll be all right.
Yeah. So yeah, but that team with a bona fide running back, I'd like to see them stay healthy and see what happens. But we got Brian Schottenheimer as a coach, so I don't have too high expectations.
Yeah, that's just such a fascinating development there. I did not see that coming. But yeah, I'm with you on the Janty thing, and I'm very curious to see how they approach that position in the offseason because I'm assuming that you're correct that they'll just let Rico walk. Um,
Yeah, I mean he was solid, good, but I'd say solid, but not great, not one of the best in the league, but a
yeah, I mean, I think
very solid back.
yeah, absolutely, and not a guy you should break the bank for. So I would understand if he gets a couple good offers that they would just let him roll. And also, if why give him money if you really have a realistic thought going into the draft that you're going to get it Janty. So
Yeah, exactly.
that would be like
But
giving
that would be
that would
that would be the Cowboys. It would all work out perfectly. He'll be there, and they'll take like a defensive lineman.
after committing like $10 million of guaranteed money unnecessarily to him when nobody else was offering more than seven or something.
Ugh.
But or they could listen. It could be worse, Bud. You could be a fan of the Falcons because how crazy would it be to go sign a quarterback for $180 million and then take one at the number 8 overall pick? Oh wait, that's what they did.
That's exactly what they did, and they needed to because the $180 million quarterback completely crapped the bed.
Yes, and here's the thing: they got lucky that worked. They got the right guy. Why give the money to Kirk Cousins in the first place? You were set up to get the guy. So weird. It's still so weird.
Ah,
And they can't trade him without killing themselves for the next season, from what I was reading. So, yeah, it's fascinating.
are they just going to roll with him as the backup?
That's what I saw an article that said Kirk Cousins is okay with it or something like that. Basically, like they're already setting up that's what it's going to be. I just can't imagine, man. I don't know. I don't know where that's going to land. I have a hard time believing Kirk Cousins isn't competing for
To
somebody's
be
job
honest,
somewhere next year.
Penix is so young, and they're on the buildup. I would just eat it for 1 year and just him out of there.
Yeah. No, if it is a crippling cap scenario, I'm with you 100%. If there's some slick way out of it and you can figure that out, great. But other than that, I think they have to do what you said. I'm with you,
Yeah. All right.
my man. I think we did it, huh?
Yeah, that one's done. We have another podcast next week where we'll review the championship games and we'll start previewing the Super Bowl. That'll be the next week episode, but we'll have one in the in between week there. We'll have another one. Do you want to actually split them up?
Yeah, that's you mean like do one
Do one on the championship games, the review, and then the following week leading up because they have the bye week there leading up to the Super Bowl, like the Tuesday or Wednesday before the Super Bowl.
yeah,
We
that
can
sounds cool to me, man.
do
Yeah,
the Super Bowl
you're
preview.
100% cool with me. And there's plenty of stuff to talk about. So, because my first thought was, well, that might be a little bit of a short episode, but but I also was thinking a thing that we could talk about somewhere down the road is in the off season, or maybe on one of those if we need a topic, is breaking down position groups. Like say like who has the best offensive line, who has the best D line, that kind of stuff could be a fun topic for some time when we need a little extra time.
Sure, sure, yep. And we could get into a little bit of baseball too because the Dodgers are ruining one of my favorite sport.
Oh my God, it's just like every time say hi to Jordan the Unicorn, love you, buddy, and every time he texts, I want to throw up because it's a new update about the Dodgers signing somebody awesome.
It's come on. Even the Yankees in their evil empire worst were never like this.
Yeah, this is. I mean, I mean, the
This
Evil
is
Empire was
stupid.
crazy, but this is next level. And they're not only are they signing all the free agents, but they're signing everybody from Japan too.
Yeah. So in the past 2 weeks they got Sasaki, They got Tanner Scott,
Tanner Scott, who everybody wanted.
and they got Kirby Yates.
Yes, they got all like two of the three best relievers left on the market. They got I mean, they got the golden gem from
Their
Japan.
their starting rotation is all number ones.
It's insane. Now, knowing
They're-
the Dodgers, for some reason, also part of being a Dodger pitcher means that you are never going to pitch 180 innings ever again.
yes, but they
I'm,
have guys that can fill in
no, I'm with you
too.
because
They
we're
go
not.
like 9 deep at starter.
They were relying for the last couple of years on guys like Dustin May and who's the other guy that always gets hurt?
Tony Gonsolin.
Thank you. Exactly. And we're not even here. They're not even on the list. They're just dudes that are coming back from their injury and they'll be stashed away for when if somebody else gets hurt.
But their starting five, if healthy, is Otani, Blake Snell. Um, I always forget the other guy. The guy
Uh,
they got last year. Um, oh my goodness,
uh,
Tyler.
uh, what's another guy that's hurt a lot?
Glass now,
Tyler Glass now. Yes.
Tyler Glass now. Then they got Sasaki, and they got oh geez, I'm blanking on all the names now. They've got another number five.
Yeah.
Snell, Sasaki, Otani. Oh, and Yamamoto.
There it is. There it is.
Yamamoto could legit be a number one starter for a lot of teams, and he's their number five probably.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Well, Blake
And,
Snell will be their number 5 for April and
right, because he's going to be awesome.
May.
Right, but I mean, and if they got injuries, when Tony Gonsolin pitches, he's good. As long as he's healthy, he can fill in and do fine.
Absolutely.
And all indications are Clayton Kershaw is going to come back for one more year, so he'll be there too.
Yeah, what's he gonna do when all
He's
those
going to
guys
be
are
a
healthy? What?
starter.
Say it again.
He's going to be a starter. They're going to go to a 6-man rotation first
Oh,
of
they're
all.
gonna do 6 man. I did see that. I forgot about that.
Yep, and they still got Gonsolin and May and everybody else.
Yeah, that's man. That is just insane.
They
So
legitimately, arguably, the best bullpen, best lineup, and best starting pitching in the game.
yeah, it's freaking nuts. It's absolutely nuts, man. And I'll tell you, it makes the couple little chippy moves the Phillies made look like absolutely nothing.
I can't see how they're not. They might break the record. Like they might go like 120 and 42.
What is the record? 119.
I think it's 117 by the Mariners.
Mariners. Okay, yeah, that Buhner.
And the Yankees won 114. But the Mariners, the Yankees really kind of held the record because after that they won the World Series, and the Mariners lost in the first round to the Yankees that year.
That's awesome.
They're like, oh, you won 117 games. That's cute. You're still going home. You're still going home.
Right? Yeah. Have fun. Have fun with that.
But that is the record. It's 117. I think they have a legit shot to beat it, and they might beat it significantly.
I'm with you. The only thing that is a factor against that is they are in a very good division, so they're going to have to play some good teams a lot. Now that their lineup is insane enough that it could very well overcome that and win 118 to 125 or something. But at least they have to play the Padres a lot.
Yeah. Hopefully, they get not hopefully. I don't want to hope for injuries, but I mean they do get injured a lot. That's one thing that always happens. They seem to run into injuries. But if they are 100% healthy all year, they're going to win. I mean, not saying the playoffs, but in the regular season, who's going to contend with that?
Oh, I mean, if they manage, it'll never happen, like you said. But if they did stay healthy all season, everybody, I'd put the over under at the record.
Yeah.
I put it at 117 and a half.
Yep. Absolutely. Right there. This is insane.
Yeah, and I would take the over if you could guarantee me everybody was going to be
And,
healthy. I
and
would
you know
take
what
the
they're
over.
going to do? Even if they have some injuries along the way, they're going to, everybody always does this every year. They're going to all be aiming to be, 100% healthy for the playoffs.
Yeah,
And chances are most of those guys will be there in the playoffs unless there's some real, season ending injuries. But if they're all, how are you going to even contend in the playoffs? I know anything can happen in a short series, but geez, I don't know.
That's a lot, man. It's like, and listen, things happen. Like, I'm not going to write him in to win the World Series or anything because, as much as even when the Yankees were the evil empire, when they were winning a lot, they didn't win every year. You know what I mean? So it's not
No.
like just because they're great, they're a lock to win the World Series. So I'm gonna be hanging my head on that
Well,
because
they did win three in a row, though.
oh sure, sure, but they were the evil empire for 20 years.
Well, that's true too. Oh boy, I don't know. Yeah,
It
I'm not
sucks.
saying they're ruining the sport, but because if they don't win, that'll be glorious.
Yeah, right. I
So that'll be
agree.
great. That'll be the best thing for the sport.
I totally
But
agree.
if I'm just fearful that they're just going to steamroll everybody right on through and like lose one game in the playoffs to win the World Series again.
Yeah, that would suck. That would
That
suck, and I
would
could see it
absolutely
happening.
suck.
Yeah, it would definitely suck. I could totally see it happening too. But I think just the odds of everything, I just don't think it'll go that way. Hopefully, and I have to hope that as a Phillies fan because they're one of the big competitors. But man, that's just brutal, dude. I mean, their payroll. What is their payroll more than any other team now? I saw a breakdown before their last couple signings, and they were already like I think 50 million over anybody else or something like that.
They're at like 375, and the next highest is the Phillies. Actually, I think are next to like 330.
317, something like that. What is it?
330, I think the
Oh, okay,
Phillies
okay.
are at. And the Yankees are at like 305 and they're third. So that means they're like 70 million over the Yankees.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Yeah,
And the
I can't
Yankees
believe
want to
it.
get under the 305. They want because 300 I guess is another tier.
Yeah. Okay, that's
So
right. That's right.
they're trying to get under that by getting rid of Stroman because he
Okay.
counts for 16 million. If they get rid of him, they go under by 10 million.
They were going to have to tie one of their best prospects to Stroman to get rid of him.
Yeah,
Or trade him to the like I said before, trade him to the Phillies for Taiwan Walker.
oh
No,
boy.
Taiwan Walker's more expensive, I think. Oh, who sucks more? Both of them. They're
All right.
awful.
Last thing I want to ask you about baseball: where does Alex Bregman land?
Man, I keep seeing he's talking to the Tigers. Talks have stalled with the Tigers. He's talking to the Tigers again. Talks have stalled again with the Tigers. So it sure seems like the Tigers are trying to get this done. Um, I
What
don't know,
about the
man.
Red Sox?
Red Sox. Listen. If I were you, I'd be rooting for him to go to the Red Sox.
Really?
Yeah, because he's a good player, but he's not a great player anymore. He has not been great since he got caught cheating. He is still good, but he is not great, and he is on the downswing. And how is he? I think I want to say he's 29. Am I making that up?
I'm not sure. He might even be 30,
Let's see here.
31, maybe.
Where
Not too old though.
30. Good call. Good call. So
Okay.
he's still in his prime. However, his prime got weird when they took away his cheating. He was looking like he was going to be one of the best players in baseball.
Yep.
When he got caught cheating, he became above average. He's an above average player, but he's not great anymore.
Right. Well,
It's
the
some,
thing is too is that like there's rumors of it, and there's a Red Sox fan that really wants him. That's online a lot, and I see what he says. But the thing is, where the hell is he going to play?
yeah, because don't they have the best third baseman, one of the best third
They
basemen?
have Devers.
Yeah. So what is the? I didn't even think about that when you brought that up. But what is their thinking?
Can he play first?
Oh, geez, you're gonna. I mean, come on, like the guy's a good. Like one of his good traits is that he's a decent fielder.
I thought he was actually a really good fielder.
He
Actually,
is. Yeah, I was underselling it, but yeah, he's a very good fielder.
maybe Devers can play first.
Yeah, I mean, geez, that's it's. I mean, maybe, but I don't know why you'd want to mess with that.
It doesn't make sense for the Red Sox, in my opinion. But I've heard rumors about him going there.
Yeah, yeah, I would actually wouldn't mind that if I were you because they're going to have to do something stupid with one of the best third basemen in baseball, whichever one they move.
See, it would make a lot more sense for the Yankees because he's better than whoever we're going to throw out there.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like that, Red Sox don't have anywhere to play him. They got a great third baseman. We have garbage at third base, and anything he does is going to be an improvement for us. But
Yeah,
they're
and
not
if you
going to
didn't have to
sign.
break the bank for Alex Bregman, I'd be all board. You know,
Yeah, but you do, Boris.
yeah. And if like, have you heard amount of years he's looking for? Because I have not heard that.
Um, I think it's 5.
Yeah, see, I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole.
It might even be 6. It's not. Yeah, if he can get it for like 2 years, I'd give him 45 to 50 million for 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
But he's not going to want that. He's
Yeah,
going to
you want to
want
give him
25 to
150 million for 5 years? No, thank you.
yeah. He's going to want 25 to 30 for 5 years.
Here's Alex Bregman pre getting caught cheating. His pinnacle year was 2019. His OPS was 1.015.
This is before he got caught.
This is pre cheating. Yep. His WAR, single season WAR, was 8.9, which led the league that year. Okay. Batted 296. And then he got caught cheating. Since then, in 4 seasons, his OPS 777, 820, 804, 768. Now, that's still good. It's still above average, but that is nothing approaching what he was before that. So, yeah, I mean, and by the way, that 768 was this past season. That was his worst season since he got caught cheating, and he's heading into his contract. Trying to get his contract off of that. So, yeah, if you can get him for a season or two, he's still a solid player. Still a very solid player.
Well, he's better than DJ LeMahieu. That's what
No
I'm
doubt,
saying.
no doubt. But how do you? But how do? And I'm with you. And I know you do. What the problem with that kind of thing is, if you sign him to take over for DJ LeMahieu and you have to give him more years than you want, then you end up with him as your DJ LeMahieu 3 years from now.
Right? No, no, no. That's the thing is that's why I don't think the Yankees will get him, and I'm fine with that because
Yeah,
I don't want him for 4 years.
right. And if you could get him for that 2 year deal, sign me up today.
Yeah, sign me up, absolutely.
Yep.
Because I mean, we've got nothing but question marks over there.
Yeah.
We got
Nah, listen, I'm with
Oswaldo
you, man.
Cabrera or DJ LeMahieu, and that's it. Those are
And
the
they,
two
they haven't
options.
addressed anything about the infield all off season.
Well, they got Goldschmidt.
I forgot about Goldschmidt. Yeah, I was not thinking first base, but who's starting at second short? Short is still how do you say it?
Volpe.
Volpe. Who's third and second as of right now?
Well, second is Jazz.
Oh, duh, I forgot about Jazz. Okay, so third is the big thing, and that would be either
I mean,
LeMahieu or
technically, you can get somebody to play second, and Jazz can play third because he played third for us last year when we got him.
okay, okay,
But either way, we need either a second baseman or a third baseman, one or the other. And I
okay.
heard they'd rather have Jazz go back to his normal position, which is second.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah,
Not that
that's
he was
interesting.
terrible at third. He wasn't terrible at third, to be honest.
No, that's Jazz is a good player, man. He can, he
I
can.
like Jazz. From the time I saw a stat from the time he joined the Yankees
Mhm.
to the end of the year, he was on a 40 home run pace, a 40 homer, 65 steal pace.
See, that's insane, and he's one of those guys that not only is not messed up by going and playing in New York, he actually got better.
Right.
He was already good, but he got better.
I've always liked him. And I always thought there was potential there for him to be better than he's been. We'll see, but he's definitely a base stealer. He's definitely aggressive. He's a decent fielder at worst,
Yeah.
and he's got some pop. He's lefty, so he can use the Yankee Stadium porch.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah, he can hit. He can easily. I think like the floor is like 25-25.
I agree. I agree. The whole thing and with Jazz is health. So if he can
Yeah,
play,
again, pertaining to yes, he's got to stay healthy.
if he can just play 140 games,
Yep,
his floor is still 25-25 to me.
yeah, yep, with the potential for a lot more.
Oh, a lot more. I'm with you. I'm a big Jazz guy, man. That was a great move
He's
by
an
you guys.
exciting player too. He's fun.
Yeah, he's awesome, dude. I love him, man. He
He's
was
got always
wasting
got a
away.
smile. Looks like he's having a blast.
Yeah, I love that. And he was wasting away with the Marlins, so it's so nice to see him get to some team that matters.
Yeah. So we'll have to see. I'm excited to see what he does this year. That'll be interesting. There's a chance. What would he do batting in front of Judge?
Oh my God. Oh, that would be insane. Yeah. And
I would do
then
that. I would
oh,
go whoever leading off. I'd bet Jazz second and Judge third,
yeah, I like that. I would do that.
and then Bellinger, and then probably the catcher, the rookie of the year. Geez, why can't I think of his name? Wells, Austin Wells,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
then Stanton, then Goldschmidt.
Right on. That makes sense. Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
I don't know who you're going to have to go lead off. Maybe you have Jazz lead off and Judge bat second. You can do that too. The
Yep.
Jazz's on base is not that high. That's the problem.
Right, right. I know. I'm with you there. Absolutely.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, he's one of those old school like Kenny Lofton,
Yeah.
guys that is gonna, if he sees the ball, he's gonna swing and he's gonna hit it more often than not. Well, actually, not more often than not, or he bats 700 instead of 300. But oh
Right.
man. Oh, and one more little baseball thing I want to hit you with real quick, because to me, the worst deal of the offseason just got signed in the last week, I think it was, and. This is another example of why the Blue Jays will just never be able to compete with the big boys in that division. Because,
Santander.
boom, dude, 5 years, $92.5 million to a guy who just had the best season of his career by far, and has
And
a
still only batted like 240.
yeah, and his on base percentage was barely above 300.
Yeah. They wanted to make a splash. They've been. If you've noticed, every time right from the beginning, they were in on everybody.
Yeah,
They were talked about with Soto. They were talked about with all the pitchers, Corbin Burns. They wanted to make a big signing this year, and they missed out on everybody.
yeah, they
And
did.
yeah, so they're just like, we got to get somebody. So that's why they did it, but they overpaid, and I think that's not going to go. It's not going to go well.
That's going to be bad news, man. I mean, it's like he has all the warning signs of a guy who's not going to have long term success. I mean, I wish him all the best. I am not. This is not some witch hunt against Anthony Santander, but you look at the numbers and it just does not bode well. So, yeah, they gave a lot of money to a guy who. I mean, he was a perfect candidate for me. If like when the if the Phillies had signed him on that 2 year deal that you were talking about for the one for Bregman, I'd be okay. I wouldn't have been thrilled, but I'd have been okay with it,
Yeah,
But
2 years, fine.
yeah, but 5 years, they're going to have this guy when he's 34 years old, 35. That's
Yeah.
just crazy to me. So yeah, that was just a tough one. Yeah, they just that Toronto, man, they missed out. That reminds me of the year the Phillies, when they pretended to be a small market team for a long chunk of the mid 80s through into the mid 90s, and then they finally they said they were going to be in the market, and they were promised us they were going to deliver with a good player. We were going to get what we wanted finally, and you know what they gave us?
What?
Greg Jeffries.
Oh no! Talk about not living up to the hype.
Oh, dude, oh my God. And he had a couple good seasons with the Mets, but he had already gone to the Cardinals and started to falter before coming to the Phils. So yeah, they signed him to a big deal. He was there for 4. Oh my God, he was there from 26 to 30, and the best WAR he ever put up for a single season was 1.6. Which, if you don't know your WAR out there, people, I know you do, Craig. That's not good.
No. Wow, wow. That's yeah. He had all the hype. I remember the Greg Jeffries rookie card was like the most sought after card.
I had it, and I thought I was going to retire on
Everyone
it.
was talking about it, and he did nothing.
Yeah, he had a 3 year stretch where he batted 342, 306, 292, and that was what got him the contract in Philly. And then the best he ever did in Philly was to bat 292 one year. Yeah, he always put up decent average, but he never put up anything else. So yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
It
like
just
12 homers.
Yeah, exactly, and like 48 RBIs. So yeah, that just flashed me back to the Greg Jeffrey signing because then it was another 6 or 7 years until they really tried hard again, and that's when they got Tomey and everything changed.
Yep, yep.
But I don't think Santander is the Blue Jays Tomey.
I don't either. I don't either.
Right on.
All right. Well, let's end it there.
Love
We've
it.
been going for a couple hours now, but that's
Okay.
okay. We had a lot to talk about. We got into some baseball too. We're going to continue to get into baseball as it goes on, as well. Even maybe at the end of some of these other NFL podcasts coming up, because those are definitely winding down. So next week we're going to do a preview. I'm sorry, a review of the championship games, and then the week after we'll preview the Super Bowl,
Perfect. Yeah, that sounds great to me, my man.
and we'll have some other interesting topics along the way to figure out.
That is perfect. And by the way, while we were talking, last bit of news, while we were talking baseball, it came out that Quinion Mitchell is playing on Sunday. So thank goodness for small favors.
Oh, well, there you go.
Big time. Our picks just got even better.
All right, man. Well, thank you for joining me as always, taking the time out. Thank you, listeners, for joining us. And I won't screw up the upload this week, hopefully.
That's awesome. No worries.
Last week, the upload got completely screwed up and nobody listened because by the time it came up, the games were already over.
Yeah, we had all kinds of issues last week. We had
Yeah. Uploading had a problem. And then once it did, I was an idiot and didn't actually publish it.
it's all good, man. No worries. We've done a lot of these successfully, so we'll get right back to it. Not a
Yeah,
problem.
absolutely. All right. Once again, guys, thank you for joining us. Until next time, I will see you later.